Hello and welcome to another episode of Battle Ready.
So ready.
So, this last week was Adepticon.
Adepticon.
And there were many reveals for many games.
Many games.
And actually, the reveal show as we record this is going on right now.
Right now.
And so you are going to get our live, well, sort of live, reaction.
Pretty much live.
And we're going to see what the AOS is like. So without further ado.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is...
All right.
Wow.
So we just watched the opening cinematic of the new edition.
That was awesome.
Pretty awesome. Pretty epic. It was really cool to see some skavens.
Yeah. We're going to have rats finally.
Yeah. Well, I think we knew the rats were coming. But see them
rats.
animated, though. Oh, yeah. We will. We're going to get the launch box, so I'm sure we'll get some rats. Really, really cool animation.
Oh, yeah.
Couple things.
With their guns.
So, usually in the animation, at least they did this last time. Usually might be too strong. But in Dominion, in the animation, they tried to showcase all the units you would get in the launch box.
Yeah.
So what units did we see? We saw those Ruination. We saw those new Paladins.
Yep. We saw the new bird guys.
New Prosecutors.
I saw the rat on a giant rat dog thing.
Well, let's just stick with the Sigmar.
We saw the lady on the... that was not a Gryph-hound. Gryph-hounds...
Yeah, so we saw... I don't know if that was the same person, but we saw a Stormcast on some kind of bird creature.
Yeah. Didn't look like a...
Might have been a Gryph-hound, might have been something else.
It looked like a dinosaur.
It sort of looked like a dino bird.
Yeah, like a dino bird.
That was really cool. What did we see on the Skaven side?
We saw a giant artillery tank.
We saw the artillery unit.
We saw the new... Well, I'm assuming it's going to be the hero that you get with the rat monster dog with the guy on top.
Rat monster dog with the guy on. Oh, yeah.
He was fighting the bird.
And then that was cool. We also saw a big guy with a gun hand.
Yeah.
Right? And then we saw a million rat Skavens. So that's
and then we
cool.
saw some of the shooter guys.
Yes. So they definitely had shooters. The one thing that was maybe a little disappointing for me...
No giant monster rats?
Well, maybe there might be more, right? There might be more. Yeah. But I think we can expect those things in the launch box, right? Because they featured in the trailer. But they said, what did Sigmar lie about? And she just says, Sigmar lied...
About the true cost.
About the true cost. And it's like, well, we sort of know that already.
Yes.
So there wasn't any... Because at the end, she says, Sigmar lied, and I'm going to be an echo of my former self, but until then, I will fight. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any Stormcast schism.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like there's going to be a traitor Stormcast. And then the lie is such that it is something we already knew. And I feel like the Stormcast already knew it. So I don't know, that probably wasn't a very good payoff.
Or maybe that's just one take on it or something.
Maybe. I mean, it will be interesting because obviously those new Paladins, they look different, right? They've got the weird spiny things in their back, and so this is definitely a different kind of unit. So maybe there'll be more lore and things behind it. So there might be more to it. But I think Traitor Stormcast are out. Yep. That's not happening. And then we'll see what impact that has. It also seems
like Sigmar lying about the guys going out to try and find the cure in reforging. That also seems out.
Maybe. Certainly anything about Sigmar lied about Azir being safe. That seems to be out.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't seem to be part of it. But I'll be interested to see where it goes. I think maybe it's not quite as cool as it could have been, but that's just from this one video.
Yeah, we don't know.
So we'll see where they go from here. Let's take a listen to what these guys say. Okay, so after that
was crazy.
After that, they gave us a little taste of some of the changes to 4th edition, which is cool.
I like most of them.
Because I thought we would see those sort of dribbled out on Warhammer Community over the next couple of months. But they did give us some good information. High level, generalities, but some good stuff. So let's just hit the ones we can remember. First one, they're removing weapon ranges for melee.
Yeah, they're just saying 3 inches.
Like everything can fight in 3 inches. What are your thoughts?
It depends on what weapon it is. If it's like ranks of zombies, I don't know how I feel about that. Because if there's a Stormcast over here and 3 ranks of zombies at the back, they've just got tiny little arms. They can't reach it.
Got tiny little arms. Yeah, I feel like having it 3 inches probably isn't the right decision. I mean, I'm glad that we're getting rid of weapon ranges.
Because that annoys it.
It's just...
It's kind of annoying.
It's cool in the sense of it makes the models feel different, but when you're actually playing the game, it's a hassle.
It's annoying
It's a
to
hassle.
measure that way.
Yeah. So I'm glad they're getting rid of that. I think I would have preferred something more like the 40K rule, where you're either in base to base or base to base with something that's in base to base, so you can always fight in 2 ranks. I think that probably would have been better, but that's just what the current rules. The other thing they said is that they're rewriting everything ground up.
Yep.
So everything else, AOS from like 1.5 forward has been adding on, adding on.
It got big.
And that's cool.
And only a little bit got taken off.
Yeah, very little got taken off. Just a couple things.
So it was starting to bloat.
Yes, it was starting to bloat. Now, I think 3.0 is awesome.
Yes.
And I keep playing it, and it's, I don't think it's overly...
Are we still going to keep all the 3.0 things so that we can just pop it out whenever we want?
Yes. Yeah, I think we'll hold on to all of our 3.0 stuff.
I love the battle.
But because it's a ground up, that means they're changing the way a lot of different stuff works. So there might be different phases. Magic might work different, right? There might be... Combat might be... They might be not 2 hit and 2 wound anymore. Maybe there's a different system. Yeah. Right? Because 40K uses strength and toughness. I hope we don't use that. Yeah, and Middle Earth strategy battle game
uses strength.
Also uses strength and toughness, but differently.
It does it better.
I guess it's better. I don't know, but so it could be something totally different, right? So we're taking these examples a little bit out of context. So that 3-inch range, maybe it makes more sense in the context of the rules, but at least as of right now, I sort of agree. I don't think zombies that are way back there should be hitting. Or if you've got some dwarfs with little hand axes, the ones in the back shouldn't be hit. I don't know. But that's one thing. Second thing is they didn't say the word index or indices. Yeah. But they basically confirmed we're getting indices. Yeah. They said at launch, everything's going to have a new war scroll. They said there's going to be cards available. I'm not sure if those are going to be in the launch box or not. They weren't super clear about that. I hope they are too.
Because those are nice.
But they're all going to be free downloads, so that's good. And every single faction is going to have new rules to bring it into this new game.
I feel like they're doing something a little bit dangerous in this, in that since all the rules and all the base sizes and such are going to be up, they could just make little circles of whatever they need, and then since all the rules are available, they can just say, "Oh, these are my Austeric Bone Reaper legions." Yeah,
I mean, people could do that all the time. I mean, you go on the app and it tells you what the base size is for everything. So
but
we could already do that.
At least in the app, you don't have the rules. If every army gets rules, then you can do that.
I'm okay with that. I feel like in a perfect world, I feel like the rules to the game should basically be free or super cheap. Like even like a pay what you want sort of thing. You put $1 in their tip jar. But then the battle tomes should be lore and art and all kinds of cool stuff and stories. And that's what they're selling. And then because they charge enough for the models. They don't need to also charge us for the rules. All right. So I think indices is potentially amazing. Yeah. I think it's potentially amazing because that means everybody's on the same playing field. Yeah. You don't have Night Haunt that are stuck for half the edition without their ethereal doesn't work quite right.
Aussie who use that as an excuse to get to the top.
Exactly. So you don't have to wait using an old battle tome while your new battle tome might be a year or 2 away. So I really, really like that. Now, at least in 40K, from what I've heard, they went to indexes, and the balance was, at least what I've heard, not good.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they say. Now, maybe that's true. Maybe that's just tournament people. I'm not into the 40K scene, so I can't say.
Same.
But if the indices are good, I think it's the best thing for the game. Yeah. If the indices are bad,
worst thing.
It's probably the worst. It's probably worse than waiting for a battle tome. Yeah. So I'm gonna cross my fingers on this.
And toes.
What else did we learn? Oh, they said that the game could be played in about an hour.
I don't know if they were talking about Spearhead or 2000.
Yeah, they might have been talking about Spearhead, which is basically a combat patrol for AOS.
They just didn't want to call it combat patrol.
Yeah. So I think Scout. Maybe they were talking about Spearhead. But they did talk about streamlining the game and making it much shorter. Because they said even when tournaments, you could get in more games. And
That's fun.
In theory, I'm all about that.
Yes.
Make the game shorter. There's no need for it to be 4 hours long.
Because then we could play multiple games.
Because then you can play more. Exactly. You could play more.
That makes us all happy.
It's awesome. I love that. Now, they say they haven't taken out the tactical considerations and things like that, that it's still very robust. And that could very well be true.
Oh,
right?
I can definitely see that.
I don't think a game has to be long to be tactically interesting.
But
we'll see. We'll see what they do.
They also said they were going to color code abilities that can happen during certain.
That
turns.
Is super cool. So,
that
all the hero phase abilities will be red, and then all the combat phase abilities will be green, and then that way, when you're looking at your war scroll, you're just scanning. It's the hero phase, right? Let me just scan for all the red ones. Okay,
Yeah.
Because we've done it every game we've ever played, and we've played 100. I've logged 178 games, and I'm sure I've missed some.
Oh yeah.
So after 178 games, we always say, "Oh, I forgot this guy has an ability."
Yep.
So hopefully that'll cut down on that. I think that is a smart thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about universal special rules?
I feel like, I had another thing about indexes.
Okay, let's go back to indices.
One thing I'm kind of nervous about is with Stormcast and Cruel and Orcs, when their battle tomes launched, by the end of 3.0, they had the suckiest battle tomes because they were new.
Yep, true.
Which is why I'm scared for indexes, because everyone will have sucky rules if that's the case scenario. Then
everyone has sucky rules,
and so it's fine.
So it levels the playing field, right?
Yeah.
Like Stormcast and Cruel Boys look bad
compared to
the new ones, right? But if everybody's on the same playing field, when they first came out, they didn't seem bad.
Yeah,
it was like, fine, this is fine. So keeping that playing field even is good. And then I'm sure they're going to come out with battle tomes that update and do different things, right? Yeah. So, but at least initially, everybody hopefully will be on an even playing field.
I feel like it seems like it could make it easier to update things. They be like, all right, we have our indexes. Ooh, Nighthaunt's sort of going down. Stormcast is sort of going up. Let's sort of even these guys out.
So the other thing that they talked about was universal special rules. What do you think about that?
Again, I think it could be dangerous, i.e. Bloodthirster being a wizard.
No. Universal special rules is, like I said, it's like if something has a 6-inch pile in, rather than putting this thing as a 6-inch pile in, they'll just say aggressive piler, and so then you just know what that means.
No, yeah, that's another thing that will make gameplay faster and make it easier for people to learn.
I think it's a really, really good idea. Now, I've seen some people complain about that and say, oh, but it's going to be hard for new players to learn because they have to remember what all these things do and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like that's probably not the case.
Yeah.
Because you look at Magic the Gathering, and it's got a bunch of universal special rules. And if you've played Magic the Gathering at all,
this guy has.
You basically know them. It's not that hard. Now, I will say that it makes me a little nervous when the old world has 1 million universal special rules. There's one war scroll that has 14 universal special rules on it. What? 14! It's like, oh my gosh. Scroll? It's one of the Tomb King's skeleton things.
Yeah,
that's too much. That's too much. Now, what they mentioned is they might have things like champion, musician,
banner,
standard bearer. So there might be things like that. So we're probably looking at a limited realm of them. And if that's the case, then great. I feel like you could have between about a dozen universal special rules, and that aren't on every war scroll, but that you have about a dozen, because we already have fly.
Yeah.
Right? That is a universal special rule.
So is champion.
No, because every champion's different, right? Because most of them give you an extra attack.
Some give you health.
The Nurgle one gives you an extra health, right? And then same things with standard bearers. Most of them give you bravery, but some of them let you reroll ones to your ward, right?
Graveguard get 6 on charge.
That's the musician.
Oh.
But yeah.
The most magical model.
Some musicians are +1 run and charge, but then you have ones that are like auto 6. So they're different, right?
Yeah.
So by universal special ruling them, it'll streamline things a little bit.
And I think, again, they could use the color code thing again. So, like, champion, when does that happen? Oh, it's green.
Oh,
that's attack.
Yes, so champions, they do their thing in the combat phase, so you just write champion in green.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, do you remember any other specific ones? I think we've covered all the ones I can remember.
We think he mentioned something about card tactics.
Oh, they did mention something about card tactics.
It seemed like that was in Spearhead.
I'm a little bit nervous about that.
If it's like secondary objectives.
Because, well, if it's secondary objectives, maybe not. But they seem to say it mattered which objectives you would take. And, we played at least one, maybe we did two, the card objective version of Age of Fantasy.
We did one. You hated it.
And I hated it. I hated it because you would set up your army, and then whether you had a good time or not wasn't due to your tactics or your strategy. It was due to the luck of, oh, look, I pulled, get the objective I'm already next to. Or, oh, I pulled, get the objective that's across the board and there's no way I can do it.
Yep.
Right? And so I hated that. So I hope it's not like that. If it was secondaries or something, there are ways that it could be good, for sure.
Yeah.
But I would hate for it to be like that. All right. So I think that does cover all the ones, at least all the ones I can remember.
Yeah.
If there's other ones that we've forgotten, put them in the notes below. And what's your final thought? When you heard all this, are you thinking, oh no, well, I guess I'll just keep playing 3rd edition? Or are you thinking, a lot of this sounds pretty good. I'm very interested.
Most of it sounds amazeballs.
Okay.
The only thing I'm remotely concerned about is the indices. I
feel like everything I heard is potentially very, very good. But I also think that everything we heard, there's a way for it to go wrong. So
they're playing with fire.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I feel like every single one of these is an 80-20 proposition.
Yeah.
Or almost all of them. It's 80% that this is going to be a great change, super good for the game, really good. 20% chance it goes horribly wrong and just makes everything awful. So
we all go back to Age of Fantasy.
We'll see. Well, we're going to keep 3rd edition. We're going to keep all the battle tomes. We're going to keep
because that one was.
I already downloaded all the facts, all the frequently asked questions, so we're good. So if we have to, we'll just keep playing 3rd.
Yeah.
But I'm
we'll be the only guys that actually play
optimistic.
3rd,
I'm pretty optimistic, even a little bit hyped for 4.0.
I am excited for 4.0.
I am excited. I think the Rats and the Stormcast were both super cool. I can't wait to see the models.
We're finally getting another faction.
I can't wait to see those models. And then on the rules side, really sort of talking my language. I really like a lot of what I'm hearing.
But what about the middle road, the lore?
Yes.
They've said nothing.
They didn't say much about the lore, and I think that's because the lore is mostly probably going to come through battle tomes,
which I'm excited for.
Yeah, those will be cool. So we'll just see. But I'm excited. Let us know. Did you watch Adepticon? How do you feel about what you've learned about 4.0? Anything that's super exciting for you? Anything that you think is terrible? Let us know in the comments below. This has been another episode of Battle Ready.
Ready.
Thanks so much for watching.